Welcome to the Multisport Mindset Podcast, a podcast by age group athletes for age group athletes, focused on sharing stories, knowledge, and highlighting success in endurance. My name is Aubrey Hayes, and my co-host is Joshua Gordon. Welcome to our endurance journey.
Welcome to the Multisport Mindset Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of endurance sports, training, strategies, and the mindset that fuels peak performance. I am Aubrey Hayes, USAT Level 1 coach, age group athlete, and co-founder of Precise Multisport.
And I am Joshua Gordon, coach and age group athlete, as well as co-founder of Precise Multisport.
All right, buckle up, everybody. Today, we're getting a little rough. We're getting brutally honest. If you're prepping for a half Ironman, these mistakes will sink your race day faster than a flat tire at mile 2. So let's dive in. No sugarcoating. So let's just jump right into this. So you and I talked a lot about mistakes people make or mistakes we have made jumping into the 70.3 and Ironman distance. And kind of to give a little background to it. So a lot of people go from like a sprint, and oh, that wasn't too bad. I would argue that most people can do a sprint with little to no training. I think most people can, as long as they can swim in a pool, most of you can find a pool and ride a bike here and there and do a 5K. That's pretty. And then you get into Olympic, a little harder, but that jump from Olympic to 70.3 and 70.3 to Ironman is big. And people probably go into training into those with the same mindset as they did before. So I want to jump into the biggest mistakes. So we'll start with you, what your number one biggest mistake is.
For sure. I mean, I'm mostly focused personally and coaching wise, like on the longer distance stuff. That's what really motivates me. And I think the number one thing that I see is people not respecting the distance, like 70.3 miles or 146. 140.6, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to show up for like a morning workout, right? It's like a full commitment. You have to basically commit your entire life to doing it well. Sure, you can like half, ass your way through it, but it's dangerous, not just for yourself, but, for everybody else around you if you are underprepared. Especially people who don't prepare for the swim and they freak out in the water. There's so many, I can go on and on. I think some of the other mistakes I'll talk about some of the issues with this, but yeah, like coaching people, what separates people I've seen progress over years is consistent working out, respecting that they have to put in the work to get the results. And it's one thing to just, show up one time and complete the Ironman, which I think it's a bucket list for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's not going to make you, it will make you happy that you finished, right? But I don't think you're going to be getting everything out of the entire experience, because it's not just about the day, right? It's about the process of preparing. And so by like respecting the distance, you're really going to have to change your whole mindset and do specific preparation. And then the day will actually be even better. Like you'll have a better experience. You'll realize, wow, like the work I did got me through this, right? In a better way. You'll see other people struggling. You'll feel better about the whole event, in my opinion.
Yeah, so like what you're saying is kind of suffer through the training, go through that process. Your mentality's changing, your body's changing, your outlook is changing, and then on race day, you're enjoying what you've done. You've enjoyed the journey, and now you're just showing off the fitness you gained at that point. Like the race is the finale. Yeah, and so many people, I 100% agree, is that so many people get into that 70.3 and full distance 140.6 and just think, well, I'll just kind of do one or two more workouts a week from what I was doing, and then I'll be fine. Or I just want to finish, so I don't need to do the hard stuff because I just want to finish. And I would think that's definitely not respecting that distance whatsoever when you do that.
Yes, but and specifically for like 70.3, like I've seen people that, they'll test it, right? They'll do like a test to be like, I can swim a mile, I can bike 56 miles, I can run a half marathon, which is a good litmus test for fitness, for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But I've not seen those people, they believe that because they can do that they're prepared, and that's true. You're probably more prepared than a lot of people, right? Which is a low bar in my opinion. But like, I think for Ironman, like you need like for an Ironman, like for biking specifically, I always tell people that I talk to, kind of higher performance people, that we discuss these things, and it's like I don't feel ready for like an Ironman until I've done at least like 5 century rides, in TT position on my bike, even though I'm riding my bike 10 to 15 hours a week, right? Like it's like there's some specific prerequisites, I mean, in my opinion, and I think others kind of agree with this. So like, yeah, respect the distance, do the right work at the right time, and then yeah, like people aren't doing that. So, um, I mean, on that, like, what do you think? Like, what's the top thing that you think people mess up?
For me, I've seen this a lot, and I think not just because we coach, but just having a plan is a number one mistake. You see a lot of people just jump into it, and it kind of leads into not respecting that distance. They're like, "Well, I'll just do a couple bikes and runs every week," and they have no specific plan, no specificity into their plan, right, and what they're doing. And so as they train, it's just like week to week. Well, this is what I think I should do, and I'm not saying you have to go out and get a coach. Not everybody can afford that, but there's a lot of free plans out there. At least download one, follow it, do a little research on your own. But just jumping into it and going, well, I'll just go swim in the pool with no structure, you're not going to really gain much. I'm just going to jump on the bike and ride 50 miles a day. Yeah, like you're getting time in the saddle,
Mhm.
but you're not getting the most out of yourself. And I think that goes to that mentality. I get it. I just want to finish, but that mentality
Yeah.
only goes so far. Like, I get that you just want to finish, but finishing healthy, finishing feeling good, and finishing enjoying the process, like that's what matters. And so I had a friend who did a full Ironman, his first Ironman, no plan, just he would like just show up to the pool twice a week. He said he'd just swim 4,000 meters straight. Like, nope, just get in, swim for like that's a test of like mental fortitude for sure, because that's got to be miserable. But he had zero plan, zero fueling plan, which we'll get into later. And he went out there and he suffered and didn't touch his bike for months, years,
Mm,
I think, after that.
that's
And like
common.
just gave up
Yeah.
on the sport. And so have a plan. What do you think about that mistake? Like people not having a plan?
Yeah. I think, there's some people that don't do well with too much structure, but like if you have a certain amount of time, like having a plan, you're going to do a lot better. You're going to feel better. You're going to perform better. You're going to be happier, right? I mean, yeah, there's some people maybe don't like to be put in a box. I've totally been there where you're just like, I can't follow this plan, but I still have a general like macro cycle plan for like my year, my week. And like,
Hmm.
yeah, there's some level where I think there's too much specifics on the plan and people get turned off. But like having no plan whatsoever and just be like, yeah, I swam once in the last 2 weeks and I biked 4 times. Like it'll build fitness, but like it's just not going to be the best use of your time given most people are time constrained, right? So I think it's, yeah, like if you have to do one thing, just get a plan and follow the plan as best you can, 80% of it, and you're going to be a lot happier come the day.
I think with that too is like as you lead up to a race, because I know the first couple of races I did, I'm like, did I do enough? Like I don't know. And if you're following a plan, you can look back on that plan, like we've talked about 1,000 times before. It's like if you knocked out 80% of that plan, you're going to be fine, right? And so there's no question behind it. Like, am I ready? Yeah, you're ready. You followed the plan, you stuck to it, and you're at race day healthy. You're going to be all right. But when you have no plan and you're just winging it, that's always going to be in the back of your head. Like, am I tested? Do I know what I'm doing? Like, look at all these people
Hmm.
here.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
like they know what they're doing. Like, yeah, so for sure, man. All right, so with that, what's your second mistake? I think these are kind of blended into each other. And
Yeah.
just for clarity out there, we did these total opposite of each other. We didn't talk to each other about our mistakes. We kind of put these
Yeah.
together on our own on our own, and we're both seeing them today right now. So,
For sure. Yeah. So it's almost exactly the same as what you said, but mine is basically skipping too many workouts. Like, and skipping too many swim workouts. I'm not saying I'm a saint because I try to not swim too much because I don't find it's like worth my time with how far I have to go. But like
hmm
I still at minimum hit a certain amount of swims with certain types of swims, right? So like I've coached a lot of people and some people are like type A, you put it there, they're gonna do it no matter what, even if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and they're traveling. Some people are just like, I'll skip this and then I'll do it, and then they end up swimming like once in a month, right? And so I think this sport is there's two kinds of people that I know in the sport. There's somebody who gets a plan, like we're talking about, and they just like follow the plan and they prepare and that's it. But if you want true fitness, fitness that will take you far, take you to the podium, or the top, whatever, qualifying for things. It takes years to build up that fitness consistently, right? And so you need to be like layering your fitness on day after day, week after week, month after month. And sure, you can have rest periods, vacations, holidays, but like just skipping sessions constantly, 2 days on, 2 days off, 3 days off, like you're never going to progress. Like you're just constantly, you just be prepared for the event and then you take, right? And so these people are kind of in this cycle of, it's like they get to the event, they never truly improve like season to season, year to year, because they just kind of prepare and that's it. And to me, like what's basically the symptom of this is just skipping tons of sessions, and like you never can just get consistency and you'll never get to that next level. And so that's, yeah, a huge mistake. It's super common among most people, in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, that takes me. There's a marathon coach that he kind of works with like all the BPN athletes and stuff like that, like Nick Bear, Jeff Cunningham. He says like he'd rather have consistently good over occasionally great, right? So like it's kind of like that cycle. Like, oh yeah, I'm really good at training for these 3 months, and then I just become a couch potato or forget about it all, and then come back
Yeah.
the next year and hope I get a PR. And that's not how that works. I had an athlete today just text me. He's in his, sorry Farrell if I get this wrong. His name's Farrell, and he's in his 50s, and he had his best 10K time today. Over the past, he's been with me for 3 years now, and he's gotten an Ironman PR, 70.3 PR. He's got a marathon PR, a 10K, but it's taken 2-3 years to start
Right.
stacking those up, and
Yeah.
year-round training, always training, and that's consistently good, man. That's what it takes, and you do the same thing. Like you're not just preaching it, like you live it. I would
Yeah.
say,
It
like,
can be a grind, but like if you're committed to the sport, like you know. If you know, you know what it
yeah.
takes.
And
So,
I would
yeah.
say for people that aren't like they're not in it like you are, but like they want to continually improve year to year. Like you don't, it's not like you have to race every race all the time, but like do your Ironman or your A event for the year. And then once you get off that, give yourself a little break and then get back into like general fitness maintenance, doing some running, biking, and that's going to carry you over. But don't just stop and become like a seasonal athlete. That doesn't work.
For sure. So, for me, yeah, a lot of mine are like that. But what about you? What's your next mistake that you're seeing a lot of your athletes making?
Not practicing nutrition, never practicing nutrition. So, Uh, obviously we have a nutrition sponsor with Precision Fuel and Hydration, but whatever works with you, whatever works with your gut or your taste buds, because you can get like what do they call it? Like
Palate
uh,
fatigue?
yeah, fatigue and all of that just with taking in nutrition. Practicing nutrition through your longer rides and not just like, hey, I'm going out on an easy run, I'm practicing nutrition. No, like Ironman paced rides, you should be taking in nutrition. Ironman paced runs, taking nutrition because at that level, your body, um, it's a little more difficult for your body to process that. And so think of it this way. Blood is traveling to your extremities to provide oxygen. So therefore, there's not as much blood in your gut to process food. A way to do that is to eat nutrition through training. That way, you and your body are going, okay, I know how to take in nutrition now. I know that we need to send some blood to the gut, carry nutrition, things like of that nature. So when you don't do that and you get to race day and then we're getting GI stress, then we don't know how to properly fuel. Am I taking in gels or sodium or water every 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30? What is it? And the only way to find that out is in training. And you can only pitch it so much.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need to do this, you need to buy it. I can't do it for you. But when athletes are like, hey, yeah, I'm going to order my nutrition, and they're 2 weeks out from the race, it makes me cringe every time because I just know there's a good chance that race day is going to be quite miserable for them. So, do you have some input on that?
Of course. I mean, yeah, people don't practice in a lot of different facets of triathlon. It's what nutrition they say is the fourth discipline or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all spend a lot of time, energy, money on swim, bike, and run, right? And then not a lot. I mean, there's focus on nutrition, but most people it's kind of an afterthought, I would say. Like when you do the shorter stuff and you come up to the longer stuff, like you haven't really needed to focus on nutrition,
Yeah,
right? And
100%.
so it's I mean, there's people out there, like there's some people on YouTube I've seen, like this guy, he's like a 10 something half marathoner, and he came from college running shorter, and he's like saying, "Oh, I never really practiced using gels," and he's like a super fast marathoner, like trying to get
Yeah.
OTQ, and he's like, "I am trying Morton for the first time," and I'm just like, wow, like, I mean, it's good that he's like talking about that stuff, but I mean, it is really it's becoming a lot more on the surface now. People know about it more, but it's still kind of understood, underutilized, I guess, until people realize, oh crap, I have to miss meals. Like when you're out there doing an Ironman, like you're gonna miss multiple meals for a lot of these people. They can miss 3 meals,
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's
Yeah.
just like you can't just be like, I'm just gonna do this whole thing without anything. So I definitely agree. I think my third mistake that I wrote down was actually exactly the same as yours. The only caveat that I would say is you mentioned this, but I think like, and I'm guilty of this 100%, and so maybe that's the reason I'm projecting this out there right now, is not fueling workouts properly, like even easy ones, because like I met with a sports nutritionist or dietitian or whatever, and like I was like, okay, yeah, I don't need to do like anything if I'm doing like like, a 60-minute zone 1 ride recovery. But like really, I think they were right, and it's like you should have some bare minimum nutrition just for practicing for the race that you take like no matter what. So it's like I try now to take like 30 grams of carbs no matter what per hour, even if it's just like the easiest thing ever. Because I mean, that's like 100 calories. Like, that's not going to mess with anything except for help you, right? It's going to help
Yeah.
recovery. And so, like, there's a limit. Like, I don't think you should be taking like 120 grams of carbs an hour when you're riding at like 150 watts, for an hour. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's some amount that you should consistently be doing just to like build the habit and build the chemistry, like you were saying, like the blood, the
Hmm.
enzymes, all those kind of things that we could talk about. But um, people skip their workouts. They think they're gonna like lose weight, which doesn't really work because you just get super hungry later. Trust me, I know. Like if I can go out and do a 5 hour ride tomorrow without anything, okay, and then I'll come home and eat like everything in the house.
Yeah.
Like there's a balance. Your body's not stupid. So like there's no reason really to just like not fuel the workouts at least a little bit. And then if it's a hard workout like an Ironman or faster, definitely fuel on the higher end, and that's something that you need to train and as you were talking about. So big thing, and there's a lot of misconceptions out there from like social media like, oh, I don't need carbs or I should train fasted. And there's
Yeah.
science to back those things up, but like I think the number one, these are all just like one thing I think is really common today, just in general in life, not just triathlon and stuff, is like everyone's looking for the secret sauce, the
Mhm.
hack, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like, man, yeah, you could experiment with fasted training or whatever. You know what works? Fueling.
Fueling. Yeah.
Like if you just fuel, you're gonna get 80% of the benefits rather than these like hacks, which are gonna be like marginal gains at the minimum.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
fueling properly is it's not even a marginal gain, it's like a massive gain, right? And so people are totally like looking for the secret sauce when the secret sauce is basically just drinking the Kool-Aid, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, man. Yeah. We did a ruck march out here recently, and it was like a marathon
Mm.
ruck march. And a couple guys prior to, they were like, hey, asking because I just did the marathon, and they were asking about nutrition because I mentioned it quite a bit and got them on taking nutrition as they practice. And they went out there, and it helped them big time, like being able to actually take in nutrition and hydrate. They said they never felt like they were going to bonk during that, whereas prior to they have. So, I mean, it works. Just ask anybody that's done it. They're going to tell you, yeah, it works. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
So, but yeah, I would say so. For mistake number 3 for me, and I've talked about this a lot here, is strength and mobility during training. So a lot of people get crunched on time, and then the first thing that goes out the door is strength and mobility. So I'm not saying you have to
Guilty.
go to the yeah, I'm not saying you have to go to the gym every day, but there are some
Yeah.
at-home things you can do. Working on like adductors, abductors, working on some single leg stuff. Like you can even like one of the strength building exercises you can do for running is literally standing on one leg and balancing for a minute, standing, and you're going to build strength. You're going to build stability in that leg. And there's a bunch of workouts out there for uh, mobility, strength, and stuff that you could do at home. 10, 15 minutes, man, just like twice a week, something. Now, I would rather people get in the gym and do a little bit of strength training, get a little more power in their legs and their core, stuff like that. But yeah, strength and mobility is big for me. And I try to push it. And sometimes I could tell when an athlete's just not going to. They just, it's always
Yeah.
the workout that's red on the schedule. And I'm like, ah, man, like they started strong, like going, and then it's the first thing they cut. Boom. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Like, I mean, I'm totally guilty of that. And the only time I do strength and mobility, it's bad. It's like if I need to go to PT and something breaks, you know? And so, if I could convince myself and the rest of 2025 to do one thing on our list, I think that might be the thing. Because,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like I have a whole home gym. I have like a squat rack because we live kind of far away from the gym, and barbells, dumbbells. I mean, I could bands, you know, like I could do
You could
it. And
100% do it.
I could, but it's
What's wrong
like
with
I'm
you?
thinking, what's wrong with me? Like, because I like riding my bike more than I like lifting weights. I used to
Yeah.
lift a lot of weights, and but the strength training, fine. Like it kind of messes with my legs, you know, blah blah blah. Like I can make excuses for that, fine. But for the mobility part of it, there's no excuse. Like I have zero excuse, like why I can't work on mobility. Like my lower back, like this quad issues. Sometimes I get, you know, quad cramping, whatever it is, right? Like there's zero excuses to not do that because it doesn't really affect your strength, right? It's not going to cause me to get DOMs or anything like that. And you'd probably argue that strength training doesn't either. But if you're riding your bike 7 days a week, it does affect you. Just
Yeah.
telling you as someone who
No,
does that. Okay.
it does. And so it depends on, like, I think a lot of people think, well, I have to lift lighter and more reps. Well, no, you're already doing endurance training. Like, well,
Mm,
we don't need endurance muscle building. What we need to build is strength and power. So we're going to do 3 to 5 reps. And with 3 to 5 reps, say you're doing, like, let's say back squat. If you're doing a nice little warm up set and then you do 4 to 5 rounds of 3 heavy back squats, obviously building up, learning form and stuff, but 3 back squats, your legs are going to be less sore because you're not doing that long endurance efforts on your legs, and you're going to be able to turn around in a day or two and get back to what you're doing. So I get it because like I say that, and the other day I did a workout that had like five sets of 10 back squats, and I ran just now. 5.5, 6 miles, and my legs were like screaming the entire time. So I get it.
yeah.
There's a time and place. I'm not
Yeah.
specifically training for a race, so to me it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are ways to build power without affecting you. Now, is it going to affect you at some point? Yes. But that's how you put it into your plan. Like, I'm not going to do a heavy leg day Friday before I do my long ride on Saturday. That's dumb. Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's ways to do it. And I have faith. I think you're going to make it happen this year. Man, you have like a gym that everybody would want, and you're not doing anything with it.
Because I used to be super into lifting. Like I used to be able
Yeah.
to deadlift like 500 pounds before I switched to triathlon. So when I got my new house, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna build this awesome gym. Has a lot of cardio stuff in it, but I got the whole rack. I have 2 different squat racks over my I mean, yeah, I have it all. I just need to like flip the switch, you know, to get back out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe this will be the year that I'll hit you up for some practical advice on how to do this without compromising my other training.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, so all right, that's our top three. Now, number four for you. What's your number four mistake for athletes?
Yeah, I mean this one I'm probably in my own camp here of people not going to agree with this, but I think there's two kinds of people. I mean, there's people that are going to agree with this or not, but like I mean, I think in the end of the day everyone will agree with this. Like not riding your bike outside either at all or in a very limited amount, right? To not riding it outside like at all, basically, like maybe a few times only. Like I see this comment, and to me, I know this mistake because I did this. Like the first Ironman I did all my training on Zwift, and the first century that I had done, you know, I did some when I was like a lot younger on a road bike, but the first century I'd ever done on my TT bike was in the Ironman. And like someone I remember vividly, this is my first Ironman. I was not weak on the bike. I think I did like a 6 hour split, nothing like I am now. And this woman, she came back behind me. She's like, dude, you're weaving all over the road. It's dangerous. And I was like, oh, I never ride outside. And like that stuck with me because like I think the same thing now when I'm like doing these multiple lap courses. Like it is dangerous. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
man.
one, it's dangerous for the person riding the bike, but two, it's dangerous for everybody else. and then you're not gonna have a good time because you're gonna have lower back pain. You're gonna be like, what's this wind? I didn't have any wind or hills. You know, you have hills on
Wind,
Zwift, I guess.
rain, hills, yeah,
And then
all
it's
of it.
like, oh, chip seal, I have bumps, you know? Like, I mean, I can give you a list of 20 things that you experience in the first 5 minutes of riding outside that are going to make you a better cyclist, right? And people just, you have people like, the problem is like social media. It's like, oh, Lionel Sanders, Lucy Charles Barkley, they never ride outside. Well, dude, if your zone two is like 28 miles an hour, I wouldn't
Yeah,
want
where
to
are you
ride
riding?
outside either.
Yeah,
Because like you have to, where are you gonna go, right? But for the average mere mortal, right? Like your zone two is probably like 17 miles an hour, so like you're gonna be able to have a lot more safety than like a Lionel or a Lucy, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, I would say, and I I know we've had some athletes before. All their outside rides are in like group rides too,
Mm,
and those are good. Don't everybody get mad at once, but it's not the best. Like you need to get out and ride your TT bike on your own because you could be pushing 150 watts doing 22 mile an hour and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna crush this Ironman. Like, no, dude. Like 150
uh-huh.
watts on your TT bike. I mean, depending on your um how much you weigh and everything, but you're not going to be going at that speed. You're not going to get protected from the wind. You're not
Yeah,
following people that are calling out. So like get out there, grind, do a little bit
yeah,
of suffering on your own outside. So,
for
and
sure.
the other thing, you don't get a flat tire on the trainer either.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
and contrary to popular belief, we see pros that don't know how to change their flat tires either right now. Uh,
Yeah, that's very
but
true. Yeah,
but you got to get out and learn, like, because it's based on Ironman rules. You have to provide for yourself, like especially age group
for
athletes.
sure.
Nobody's driving around with a tire to give to every age group athlete. So get
No,
out there and practice in those elements.
for sure. And like I said, the number one thing is for yourself, but like you have to think about other people as well,
Mm, yeah,
right? Like it's not safe if you don't know how to ride your bike or I mean, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine at this point where I mean, I like indoor training because you can push really hard and all those things. You get the good fitness, right? But I look at other people that are really strong on the bike, like, oh, like Sam Long, Magnus Ditlev, Christian Blumenfeld, like they do some trainer work, but dude, those guys, they're outside riding constantly. You can see on Strava and stuff, right?
yeah.
Or their Instagram. So it's like, I mean, you look at Cam Worth. You think Cam Worth, who just set the bike course record in Texas yesterday, dude is not sitting around on Zwift riding, you know? Dude loves his ride his bike, you know? And like I look up to those guys, like I kind of model my training, not after them exactly, but like you have to be able to ride fast outside. Like you have to know how to push it. And that's gonna go into my last thing I'll talk about, but like the numbers from indoor training, like trainer road, all that stuff, it's awesome. But like at the end of the day, speed and being able to ride an aggressive position for a long period of time, that's all done outside, right? So being outside on your bike is a huge mistake that people ignore. They think they can just train for an Ironman inside. You could, but it's just not going to be as good in the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely not. Um,
about I think. What about you? What's your next one?
so number four mistake for me is overdoing your taper. And what
Yep.
I mean by that is not like that you start a taper too soon. Yeah, that's an issue too. But you'll see people do like those, like hero rides or like they'll do big rides or big runs like a week out from
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm gonna
like
do
the
a huge
longest
ride.
ride, right?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
at that point you've already gained the fitness that you have, and all you're doing is hurting yourself.
Uh-huh.
So
For
going
sure.
out and doing like a century ride and a 45-minute brick off the
Uh-huh.
weekend before, like you're not proving anything to anyone, and you're only hurting yourself. I would argue that 2.5 weeks out is when you should probably start. Like 3 weeks out, doing like your big
Uh-huh.
final brick and long run, and then slowly tapering down. And with a taper, that means more of we're gonna reduce. Uh, you're going to reduce your distance on all your runs, right? And all your bikes and everything, but we might increase intensity a little bit just to keep the stimulus going, and we'll do that over a 2 week period into the race. But at no point am I gonna go out and do something crazy 2 weeks a week
Uh-huh.
out. I'm just not gonna take anything.
For the average person, I completely agree. Like,
Yeah.
the average person's not capable of doing what you said not to do and being okay.
Yeah.
Like I wrote a blog on our website on tapering, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of there's variability in people how people respond, but the general consensus is exactly what you said. Like you should taper a few weeks before and all that good stuff, right? And I think it goes back to like the no plan thing. Like a lot of these people, I'm thinking of a few people that I know, they're like preparing for a race and they're freak out training or panic training they call it,
Mm.
right? Where they're
Yeah.
like, I need to like prove to myself that I can ride 60 miles the weekend before, and it's like, okay, you proved it. Now you just like gonna ride slower next weekend, right?
Yep. That's it.
And so like I completely agree for the vast majority of people, they they panic training in the tapers is a common problem. So yeah, be on a plan like you suggested is going to prevent a lot of that kind of freaking out.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then it goes back to the last point I made about riding outside. They're like, "Oh, I need to practice riding outside," and they do it like one time the weekend before.
Yeah. A little too late.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good getting outside. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at you for it, but it's not the time to go do a hero workout, right?
for sure.
And that's like that, like becoming like occasionally great. Like, oh yeah, and oh, I feel good because I went out and crushed it this weekend. But
Yeah,
you should be really focusing on doing that the weekend of the race instead.
for sure.
And so yeah, I didn't even I didn't even take into consideration what you said, where like people like cramming it in. I've seen that
Yeah,
so many times. Like, man, this block I've been bad. This next couple weeks I really need to crush it. I'm like, it's not. I mean, that's good, I guess, but it's not going to help you. Like,
yeah.
what
They
you
should have
have
had
is what
that
you have.
thought like 6 weeks ago or something.
Yeah,
And so I think, yeah, the taper crazies or whatever, right? It's not, you should like
yeah,
in your mind act like the race is like the weekend before your race if you're gonna do that, right?
yeah, for
If you're
sure.
gonna be freaking out. So
Uh,
I
eh,
think it goes into one of my other points, maybe that I don't know what's on this list, but racing, these tune-up races, I have a whole blog on that too on the website. Like
yeah,
there's something good about doing these like practice races, even if it's like a different type of race, like oh, it's a Olympic for an Ironman or it's a 5K for marathon training, right? Like there's so many benefits beyond just the stimulus of the session itself to like get you out of your comfort zone to not freak out in the taper.
yeah, yeah. It's like a little bit of confidence building on
Uh-huh.
top of learning like your transitions and like we talked about what nutrition works for you. Like I would argue it's like everything that we've talked about are mistakes, like taking those
Yeah,
races prior to like actually getting outside and riding your bike in a race and
exactly.
and not making nutrition stops dangerous for everybody. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure.
all right, so mistake number 5 for you before.
For sure. So, I mean, this one is, I think it's because I maybe have been through this myself. And it was like, I think a few weeks ago we had this podcast where we talked about data
Hmm.
analysis paralysis, right? And, I think with all the data that's available now, this goes back to that whole conversation we had before, but people ignore how they feel, right? So obsessing over the numbers and
Yeah.
not listening to their body and their mind, right? So like you have a power target, and I'm sure we've all been through this, like, oh, I'm not hitting my power target on the race day for whatever reason. Maybe I'm under, but oh, I've been over before too, and I've been holding it. Like, dang, I can actually hold this power. And I'm focused more in that case on my feeling, right? Like, does this feel sustainable? Because now I feel like I'm in tune with my body more, my mind. I know is it something I can sustain? And a lot of people, they just are such a slave to their numbers. They're like, oh, my heart rate is 1 beat a minute over zone 2. Like, I'm gonna go anabolic or whatever, right? Anaerobic,
Yeah.
sorry, not
Yeah.
anabolic. And my race is gonna be over, right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so, like, I think there's a time. Oh, and another one is we talked about like the TSS thing. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's just like, my CTL has to only go up no matter
Yeah.
what. And like, I think there's just too much obsession these days with the numbers. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen in the Ironman or whatever, 70.3, it all comes down to feeling, right? Being in tune with your body, and like the numbers there to guide you and make it so you're operating within some conditions, right? But you need to know how the effort feels, and listen to yourself, right? And all those kind of things. And so I think that's one of the big things. Maybe not the number one thing, but like people obsessing over metrics these days. It's everywhere, all over the internet, like online, whatever, right? Like everyone is so obsessed with all their numbers. I cannot tell you how many times we're like, oh, my morning report says I'm going to be bad today.
Yeah.
That drives me off the wall because I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, who cares what your stupid metrics say? Just listen to what your body's telling you. You're an evolved being of like hundreds of thousands of years to get this far, better than any computer, you know? So
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit, like understanding like the false positives that your devices have. Like they jostle around, they could be sitting
hmm
wrong. You could have in your sleep, like you cut off blood flow to your hands. Like anything can mess with those metrics. But the one thing that doesn't change uh, is knowing your body and how you feel on the day of. And that's huge. Like an example of that is like getting when we raced in Galveston that year, getting out there with the wind to my back, and I'm like my goal wattage was like 230 watts, and I'm realizing I'm doing like 30 mile an hour at 170, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here. This feels comfortable for now because I know I'm gonna have to push on the back end. So you talk about race dynamics that lead into it as well. And then on the way back, I was able to hold more of like 220 because I didn't feel like as I was hitting 230, I was like, man, I might not be able to run off of 230, and like just checking in and knowing where you're at. So
for sure.
there's a lot that goes to that. That is super important, and obsessing over metrics and how instead of how you feel. I think that has a lot to do with my mistake number 5, which is listening to the social media hype, right? And we already kind of touched
Oh
on it.
God.
Man, hero workouts are all over. Like if you want to look
Yeah.
up hero workouts, just get on Instagram, type in like Ironman training, and
Mm.
everybody's going to post their best workouts. And oh, I'm doing zone 2, 300 watts at 130 bpm. Like shut up. Like you're stupid.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to listen to that crap. I think people want to see more of like here's the realistic aspect of training. Most of it's not that. No, most of it's not this sexy. Like
Yeah.
it's consistent. I show up every day. I fight demons. I do that. So, and you're gonna see some good stuff on social media, but for the most part, I don't know. It's all smoke. Most of it's all smoke.
Yeah.
I know you don't like social media, so you give me
No.
your aspect of social media.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that can back it up, okay?
Yeah.
And they're funny. Those people, I like people that can be like humorous, but like showboating and gloating kind of stuff isn't good. The unrealistic expectations,
Hmm.
or like, the people that are like, oh, I'm gonna go do like, I mean, the people that are working the hardest, they're not out there boasting on social media. Like, you look at someone like Caleb, he's like, dude's running like 20 miles, like 3 days a week at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's not like all over Instagram being like, look how great I am. No, he's
Yeah.
like just shutting up and doing the work, you know? And so, like, the people that are posting about how great they are makes me wonder, like, how they have so much time and energy to be like gloating
Yeah.
about their like their
Yeah.
workouts. Like, I know people that work really hard, and yeah, they're not influencers or whatever. So I mean, it just depends. Some people love that, they need that motivation kick, that dopamine. Yeah, a lot of the social media stuff pisses me off, like all that stuff like on the Garmin, like I was talking about. It's not exactly social media, but it kind of is. It's like, oh, MOF training, heart rate training, like there's benefits to all these, but people take it way too far and they make it like their life. It's like, oh, I'm a low heart rate influencer, and they like only preach low heart rate training and you can never train hard. You know what I'm
What's the
saying?
best low
Like,
heart rate influencer? I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start using that.
dude, there's a lot of those guys. You've never seen
Oh,
that?
yeah. I guess I never put it like so stupid. Yeah, I get it. They're
Yeah.
like hell bent on heart rate and heart rate only, and then they tell everybody about heart rate and how to find their zone 2 and zone 2 this and zone 2 that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
excessive, man. Yeah. Let's jump into our humor section.
All right.
And so this is our as we're
This will
gonna
be
call
like
it the
rapid
bonus.
fire.
There
Yeah,
you go.
rapid
Yeah,
fire though. Let's not dwell on these because
yeah.
let's maybe take them one at a time. We'll switch off, okay?
All right.
Rapid fire.
All
All
right,
right.
let me just say the first one, and I
Yeah.
can say this because I'm a zealot on this one. I say these are things people think are mistakes, but really when it comes to brass tacks, they are not mistakes in my opinion.
Okay.
Riding your bike too much, okay? Like I've never met anybody who like regretted riding their bike too much and they would not benefit in a triathlon. Like I want to see you riding your bike 20 hours a week and then you'll probably end up beating me, okay? So just like people say, "Oh, you can ride your bike too much." I see it on the Trader Road podcast all the time. No, I don't agree with that.
I don't think a single coach is going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did more than was planned this week." Like no
Yeah.
coach is going to be upset about it.
Yeah. If you can sustain it, right? So,
Yeah. All right. So number 2, racing a lot. So some people warn you about over racing. And so over racing, we kind of talked about already. It sharpens your skill set, sharpens your mindset, it sharpens your technique out on the road. Racing too much. Oh, that guy's just always racing. How does he even? Yeah, that's dumb.
for sure, especially if they're just like shorter races, right? Someone show me someone who's consistently racing a lot of triathlons. They're going to be really good at racing triathlons, right? And so I think people try to like spend all year preparing for an Ironman and like they should have done like a bunch of smaller races. They'd probably have a better race at the end of the year, right? So I mean, yeah.
For sure.
All right. This goes back to our social media discussion. Uh, like low carb influencers, basically. Like
Yeah.
people think, they should be not eating so many carbs, but I say you should be eating as high carb as possible if you're serious about performing in endurance sports, right? So eat as many carbs as possible. People say, "Oh, I don't want to eat too many carbs. It's bad for me." No. If you're focused on performance, eat more carbs.
All right. Heck yeah. And that leads into number 4, which is gaining a little weight during the big build. So,
Mm,
yeah. So, eating too many carbs, gaining a little weight, it's not really a thing. Now, we're not saying pack on 30 pounds here, guys, but a couple pounds,
yeah.
a couple pounds, it means you're fueling well, you're
Yeah.
putting on weight in hydration, uh, glycogen and recovery, right? So you're putting it all in, you're fueling the body well, and then you're getting to race day strong and ready to race.
For
Kick
sure.
the carbs in, guys. Fuel yourself,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally. Like I would rather be a little bit heavy but strong and not depleted. And like I've had so many stories of people, especially I mean maybe not for running, but for triathlon, like you need to be strong and full of energy for the whole long event, right? So yeah, I think people are way too focused on losing weight and they should be focused on just being strong as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, none of us are climbing any giant mountains in these races, so the weight
Yeah,
is not as much of a and our Ironman athletes are usually a little bit stockier anyway. So,
for sure.
all
All
right,
right, the
last
last one, the most people think that they have to have a balance. But if you want to succeed, it's okay to say no to going out and not all the time, but like, it's fine to say, "Hey, I can't go out for drinks," right? Like in your 6 weeks leading up to the race, I would think it's not a mistake to cut out your social life quite a bit so you can focus on recovery and preparing yourself for this probably going to be one of the hardest days of your life. So like I think yeah, ditching your social life during peak training is not a mistake.
Yep. And all of those people that are going to make fun of you, like, oh, you can't come have a drink, they're going to be the first people when you finish the race and be like, dang, man, like that was awesome. Like, and they'll be
Yeah,
there cheering you on. You're not going to lose friends. They're just being assholes in the moment. So don't worry about it.
for sure.
They'll all be there or they won't. And that fact, maybe you didn't need them. So.
For sure. Agree.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today. It was a good conversation based on the mistakes that we see triathletes take as they move from shorter distances up to the 70.3 and full distance Ironmans. Yeah, you got any closing statements for the group there, Josh?
No, I think we covered a lot. I mean, there's a lot more things we can talk about in the next podcast based on some of the stuff we talked about, but we'll leave it here for today.
All right. Under this podcast, there's going to be a link that says text us here. You can click on it and it'll send a message directly to us. If you have questions, concerns, maybe you want to just ask for some advice, you can put it there. You can also submit questions to precisemultisport@gmail.com or at www.precisemultisport.com/contact us. Make sure you hit the follow button. And if you're looking for a coach, we're always taking on athletes. So everybody have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thank you all for joining the Multisport Mindset Podcast. Click that follow button and join us every Wednesday for a new episode. Make sure to visit the team website at www.precisemultisport.com. Follow on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. We will see you next week.